What's up YouTube, this is Dragon, and I met an awesome battler on Twitter by the name of Dynasty. He has some great Pokemon and some great sets, and let's get straight into the battle right now. So I decided to go for pure burst power, and I'm gonna send out my Mega Charizard. Why? Because I just want to make sure I could Fire Blast, Solar Beam, whatever it is that he sends out first. So he sends out his Greninja, and I'm actually pretty happy that he sent out his Greninja, because now I'd be able to Mega Evolve, take neutral damage from mostly pretty much anything that he could possibly do, and then Solar Beam him and then OHKO him. However, I am hoping that he didn't watch my physical Greninja video, because, well, my Charizard will be OHKO'd. So he goes for the spikes, and I'm like, alright. So, obviously he's gonna go for the spikes. Well, not obviously, but in this particular scenario, he would only go for the spikes if he were sashed. So, I knew that maybe or most likely he had the sash, and yes, I was correct. He did have the sash. Now, at this point, I am really worried because he could easily go for the Rock Slide to OHKO my Mega Charizard, but he doesn't have the Rock Slide and he goes for the U-turn. And at this point, I am extremely relieved because the Rock Slide would have definitely OHKO'd my Mega Charizard and it would have bit the dust immediately. So he U-turns into his Blastoise, and now you're probably wondering, why would he U-turn into a Blastoise? Obviously, I'm going to use the Solar Beam. He really didn't have any other option to switch in with any other Pokemon, because let's say he switched into his Venusaur and predicted that I was going to use the Solar Beam. Well, he does have the Chlorophyll and he could have possibly Sleep Powdered me, but what if I use Fire Blast just to cover all the bases, even though Fire Blast has less accuracy? So you never know. You know, it was actually the best possible play for him so that he could switch into his next Pokemon that you're about to see. Unfortunately, his possibly Mega Blastoise is going to die with my Solar Beams, and now I'm going to switch out because I don't want to like be Draco Meteor or anything with this Pokemon, and he's going to do something I never really see on a Latios. He is going to use Thunderbolt. Rarely, and I mean super rarely, do you ever see a Latios with a Thunderbolt. I really expected like maybe a Draco Meteor or a Surfer, anything else to come, but that Thunderbolt really took me off guard. So that's going to extremely cripple my Azumarill's capabilities in this battle, and now I'm going to have to just switch it to my Blissey because, well, I didn't want to just be, you know, completely destroyed. He predicts my switch and anticipates me going into something that will be able to take a special attack, and then now he has his Escavalier out, and now I'm really afraid of what he's going to do. Now, what's really interesting about what I'm about to do right now is this could have actually been very bad for me, because instead he could have went for the knockoff, and then you already know he would have knocked off my Toxic Orb, and that would have definitely been very bad for my Gliscor. So he now switches out because he can't really do anything to my Gliscor, and I'm predicting maybe he might go to Latios, maybe he won't, but Earthquake covered most of his Pokemon's team, so I went for the Earthquake instead. And then he went for the safe switch-in, as his Greninja was then the Death Fodder switch-in, which was a really good play on his part. And now he's able to freely send out his Venusaur. So I know this Venusaur is most likely going to Mega Evolve and is going to do something that I really don't want to happen to me. So, excuse me. So now he Mega Evolves into his Venusaur, and I think he goes for the Leech Seed. Right, he goes for the Leech Seed at this point because he knows that, like, say for instance I go into any other Pokemon, like Leech Seed was really the best play that he could have possibly done, and I don't think that he has Sleep Powder on this Pokemon. Also, like, what if I decided to stay here with my Gligar for some crazy reason? Then Leech Seed obviously would have been the best play in any sense. So now with this, a Sharp-beaked Adamant Brave Bird is not enough to KO this Mega Venusaur, and he's going to crit me with the knockoff attack and knock off my Sharp-beak, and that's just going to be really, really bad for my Talonflame, because now I'm like, alright, I'm just going to Bullet Punch this Mega Venusaur, but Mega Venusaur plays no games, and he gets out of there real quick, and he immediately knows that the Bullet Punch is coming, so he's switching into his into his Escavalier, and I'm like, alright, I obviously don't want to be in that situation because I don't know what he's got going on in his mind. So he goes off and uses the knockoff, and then he knocks off my Toxic Orb, revealing that he had knockoff the entire time. So that means that he could have potentially tried to knock off the leftovers on my Blissey, and then he would have easily knocked off the poison healing Toxic Orb off of my Aphorism, and that would have put me in a really, really bad situation. So now he withdraws, and I was predicting, alright, so maybe like I use Ice Fang. The reason why you saw me use Ice Fang at first is because I thought he was gonna go out to his Neon beforehand, And now he goes out into his Neon, and then I use Earthquake, so I'm just like, oh man, I wish I just went for the Toxic like I originally thought that he was going to switch, because like I went for the Ice Fang, so he's probably predicting like, oh yeah, you know, he's probably going to just use Ice Fang again, and then I can definitely tank an Ice Fang with my Latios, so he switched into his Latios. So with that, I just completely missed with the Earthquake, and now I'm in this situation. And as you saw before, I did use Protect so I could scout out to see what move that he was going to do, and now I know that he does carry the serve, so I definitely don't want to have my Gliscor out, and you know, Gliscor can't take anything that a Latios can do anyway. So now he switches into his Escavalier, and I predicted this switch, and now I hit him with the Flamethrower. Yes, folks, this Flamethrower was great. It was extra toasty for that Escavalier, X4 damage, even the Akaberry making it an X2 isn't going to be enough for the next Flamethrower that he has. I wasn't really sure if he was going to switch back into his Latios or not, but still, he leaves his Escavalier out to die, and that's going to put my Blissey in a really good position. So now, recovering that little bit of health of my leftovers, I'm looking at this Mega Venusaur, and I'm like, alright, what am I going to do about this Mega Venusaur? I know he's most likely going to use Synthesis, which he does, because you see, he wouldn't have gone for the Leech Seed, because he would have died to my Seismic Toss, and now I know after this Seismic Toss, he's either going to go for the Synthesis again, or he's going to go for another Leech Seed. So, I don't know exactly what he's going to do, but I'm going to do something that, like, I just want to really, like, have my Azumarill come out so that I can freely switch into my Scizor, because, like, I don't want to be in a situation where, like, I don't know, uses something that would be like damaging to my Scizor. I don't really know the last move that this Mega Venusaur has, and on top of that, he does have the knockoff, and my Scizor is not carrying any Mega Evolution Stones, so that knockoff would have done a lot of damage to my Scizor, and it would have been unnecessary. So, you know, he knocks off my Choice Band, and I die. And at this point, I debate, and I say, okay, maybe I should either go into my Mega Charizard Y or my Scizor, and I decide to go into my Mega Charizard Y, making a second guess, so that kind of forces him to switch in his Espeon as a Death Fodder, and then I go for the Fire Blast, and I was really hoping that I didn't miss the Fire Blast, and I hit that Fire Blast, and it is a Oko, and I was actually hoping that it wasn't Sash, and I'm glad it wasn't Sash, because, well, you know, I would have had to have dealt with, you know, possibly, I don't know, a Psyshock or a Psychic, who knows what that Espeon had. No one needs to know because it's dead. So now, as you can see, I switched into my Aphorism, and I wanted him to kill me. I was hoping that he would use Surf or anything. Thunderbolt. I was really glad he didn't go for the Thunderbolt. I was really happy that he went for the Draco Meteor, because this really gives me a free switch in to my Scizor, and I have a very strong feeling that he is Choice. So this is gonna give me a free Swords Dance setup, so that when he sends out his Flower Bed, I'll be able to Swords Dance and potentially Bullet Punch him and Oko him. So now, at this point, bam! I get the +2, and my attack power is up sharply, baby. And I go for the Bullet Punch, and I'm like, alright, let's go, I want to see you die. Nope! Mega Venusaur, like I said, plays no games. And he goes for the Leech Seed, and then, well, that's gonna be pretty much like another Bullet Punch is gonna be for the necessity of this Mega Venusaur's death. But he definitely lasted so much. Mega Venusaur is such a defensive beast, man. I mean, it's almost on par with Mega Aggron. Not defensive wise, but if you know what I mean, but just all range stat wise. So now I'm going to be able to finish off this Latios with a Bullet Punch, and that's going to be the game. That was definitely a great game, and I really enjoyed that. And if you enjoyed that, go ahead and leave a like, and go ahead and subscribe. We got breakneck coverage on Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and almost anything Pokemon related will be on this channel for your benefit and enjoyment. Well, see you later.